Thank you, Barb, so much for the introduction. And Barb, would you mind keeping an eye on the chat? And then I'll check in with you because I'm afraid that managing the live.
Yep, I got you.
And I'm hoping, I feel like this will probably yield a follow-up, session in a few months. So I'd love, if questions come up, please download them on the chat. And then if I can come up with another presentation in a few months that dives deeper and answers questions, that would be amazing. But like Barb said, I'm Missy Sherber. I'm the owner of T. Sherber Demolition and Excavating. We're a demolition excavating and dumpster company as well. And I'm excited to share our story on how we went from a very small, unknown contractor to a mid-size excavation contractor working with top residential customers here in the Twin Cities, and really how we did that through the power of social media and the mystery of Google and algorithms. I'm going to do my very best today to just simplify the message, because that's how I learn best, is keep it simple, stupid is what I tell myself. Not that I'm, not smart, but I would love for this to be interactive. There's going to be a few, if you'll have a pen and a notepad out, if you don't already, there's going to be a few moments where I'd like to take the advice and an actionable item and say, go ahead, and we're going to walk through kind of content and what I feel is the mystery of some of us engaging on social media is, what do I say and what do I talk about? And there's going to be moments in this presentation where we pause and I say, why don't you write down this or that? I think that will be really helpful for you to walk away and be able to, start making change. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to get this presentation started. And if someone could just give me a thumbs up. I can't see everyone now. That you can see. Oh, I see it. Okay, thanks, Megan.
Good.
That you can see it. So again, we're going to talk about social media strategies. Here's my handle at Missy Sherber on Instagram. To be honest with you, I called Barb a few weeks ago and I was like, I can't do this presentation. I've taken a step back from all the platforms. We're hiring a company to start running our platforms. I feel like a hypocrite, sharing our story and saying, you guys have to be consistent on social media, when after having a baby a year ago and kind of maxing out our business through social media, I've taken a step back and have not been consistent. But Barb was like, not letting me do that. She's like, nope, you still built a powerful story online. And I think a lot of women need direction here on how to make a difference online. So you'll go to my feeds and see inactivity right now. That is about to change drastically as we hire companies. So please follow along. We're on Facebook as T. Sherber. I'm on Instagram. I have a blog called The Sherber Report, and this presentation is on thesherberreport.com/social media. There'll be a link at the end. And I not only uploaded this presentation to the Sherber Report, and I'll give it to Barb as well, there's links on this presentation that you can click and find further resources that I talk about today. So you're not having to scramble and scribble notes. You can really just kind of listen and think about how you can set your business apart online. So just know that there's a lot of resources that we've connected to this presentation that you can use after. So I'm going to get started here and just tell you quick about me. I had a 10-year career in communications and marketing for the nonprofit sector. I was a major donor officer for a nonprofit downtown called Urban Ventures. And then I met my husband, who had a dump truck and an excavator and a dumpster business, and crazily quit my dream job to sell dumpsters every day and talk trash. So I traded in, my heels for the hard hat, quickly just took over the company. And I had a great conversation with Janine at the AWC retreat. And she talked about kind of how she works with her husband and how truly we kind of took over and said, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to grow. We went from one excavator, one truck, to now we have 5 excavators, 5 trucks. We've grown really quickly. And again, I give a lot of credit to that, to our work as a team, to great relationships, and then what we did online. So that's a little bit about me. Barb said I should introduce the family. This is my husband, Trevor, my daughter, Isabel, us out on the job site.
This is us at our new headquarters that we just purchased, which is very exciting. And then I consider Barb in the AWC family, so I had to include her on this presentation. This is us. We just secured a CPP partnership, where as a small contractor, we're going to be working with a larger contractor to do more work. So it's very exciting. And then when you see this green square in the upper right-hand corner, that means if you go to our website, you can click on it and get further resources and continue your learning, because social media is a never-ending journey. It's changing all the time. So please utilize the resources we put on there. So I first want to talk with you guys about why social media is so important. And it really is a powerful way to connect with your customers. By being on social media, you're letting your customers know you're there. You're open for business and you're ready to listen. I think the other thing that is unique about being a construction company that is on social media and active on social media is that it's a competitive edge for you. The construction industry is very behind online. And I recognized that right when I came in. I just thought, no one's here. There's a white space here. What if we go online? What if that's our competitive edge? What if we tell our story? Many of you know the power of sales is in storytelling. There's a science to that. And there's a huge opportunity. So if you can find a consistent way to be on social media and carve out a little bit of time to be engaged there, I really think as a construction company, it gives you a huge competitive edge, because very few contractors are consistently active on social media. And the few that are out there that are definitely, I watch, and are starting to really dominate in their industries. But social media, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of lead marketers in every industry, is no longer an option. It's a requirement to keep up with your customers' expectations, to stay ahead of your competition. It is critical that you build a strong social media presence. Social media is an amazing outlet for showcasing your brand. You can use the space to share what sets you apart from your competitors, and you can build your credibility and brand authority on social media, and it's free. It's like a free commercial. It's a free Super Bowl commercial, and that's how I think it's important that we think about it. Like, I get a free $1 million Super Bowl commercial every day to put our story and our brand in front of our customers to build credibility and brand awareness. So to me, like, I hope we all walk away saying can be time consuming. There is a way to manage it, but it's not optional for our business to be successful. And there's a lot of women-owned businesses on here. So I was so excited about this presentation to like set you apart. Like, this is how you can do it. This is how we did it. So just tell yourself right now, it's no longer an option. In fact, recent statistics note that social advertising is practiced by a staggering 74% of shoppers make buying decisions based on social media. Here's what's interesting. I think a lot of us think of B2C business models, business to consumer. Retailers, Macy's, they need to be on social media. It's 74% of their shoppers that are on there. I'm a B2B business. I sell to other contractors. It's not relevant. But recent statistics note that social advertising is practiced by a staggering 83% of B2B marketers, and it's second only to search engines in terms of success. So what they're saying is you're successful as a B2B business in two places: search engines, which is Google, which we will talk about, and then you're successful second as a B2B business if you're engaged on social media and social advertising. So that, again, is just to kind of drive home the point of why social media and why we have to be engaged as successful construction companies on social media. And I think that's what keeps a lot of us away from it is, oh, we're a B2B business. I sell to contractors. It's not relevant. It's very relevant. So
Missy,
yeah.
Do you see a difference between B2B market for commercial customers for construction versus residential customers?
I see that there is actually, I think it's the same, but I'm starting to learn an even bigger competitive advantage in the commercial market that I didn't think would exist. We first built our business in the residential market, and we're very successful doing that through social media and online marketing. And now that I'm getting engaged in the commercial world, I'm realizing like, oh, wow, I'm using different platforms, which I'll talk about, but it's just as relevant in the commercial space for sure. That's a great question. One of the things with B2B buyers' journeys involve more than just visiting a website or checking out your, pricing. An overwhelming number of B2B buyers do independent research and want to ensure that the companies they work with are credible. I've noticed at sales meeting, and this is in residential and commercial, so I know how to go into our analytics and look at our website and watch, kind of the area that someone clicks on our website and kind of navigates through it. Every single time I've had a sales meeting, one was just with a larger GC, and I met with their team, their estimating team, project managers. And I think I had 6 people from Bloomington, that area, after the meeting, go to our website, and 5 of the 6 clicked on our social channels and went to look and see that we're credible. Are we actually doing the work we say we're doing? So I think it's really important that you remember that, especially business developers working more hand in hand with their communications department. Like when you do a sales meeting, you could walk away and they're going to look for your credibility. What kind of projects are you doing? And I think social media is a great way for us to live update our potential customers and current customers of what we're capable of and that we're a credible company. So real quickly, these are the platforms that I recommend as a construction company, and I've kind of dabbled in so many of them. I feel like these are the most important for our industry, and I think it is smart to be resourceful and really focus on a few rather than try to be on everything. Facebook has the strongest global reach and the strongest algorithm that is connected to Google, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Instagram also has a very strong algorithm that is connected to Google. Instagram might not seem as relevant to you guys, but it's directly connected to how you perform in Google. And I'd imagine most of us on here are like T. Sherbert, and where a lot of our potential customers will Google excavation contractor, Twin Cities, or lighting contractor or commercial roof installer, Twin Cities. Customers locally and nationally are Googling that, and you can increase your performance in that search engine for free by being active on these platforms. And that, I think, is the biggest disconnect that we don't realize, because it's like, why are we on here? Why am I doing this? We all know that Google is somewhat of a monopoly, and in my opinion, for the big contractors that can spend big. But social media is your way to rank well on Google for free by being active and engaged. So that is one of the reasons why it's so important to be engaged. LinkedIn is very powerful in our industry. It has the strongest professional reach, and you can engage with potential customers on LinkedIn. So you can go follow them, you can go learn about who their president, business developer, PMs are, you can follow them, you can like their posts, you can share and ask for, LinkedIn is very, very powerful in our industry. And then last but not least, Google My Business, very important. And I think probably one of the more critical ones to be active on, posting pictures on your Google business profile with a geotag location. Again, this is going to help you have competitive edge online for free. Like it's crazy to me that all these platforms are still free, that you can just be engaged and be active, and Google will like you better because of that. So it's important to just think about how much online affects your everyday life and shopping and buying patterns. Construction isn't there yet, but it will be. And the future of buying behavior is like notably going to be online. And so why not have a competitive edge and advantage and build that out now, even though it might not seem as important or relevant. I think construction, we're still a little bit behind. We're still a little bit about the handshake and the relationships, but as that next generation takes over the companies of our customers, I really believe that more and more buying behavior is going to go online. One of my favorite marketers that I study, research, read his books, Gary Vaynerchuk. Here's just 2 quotes from him. Oopsies, let me go back. More content, more brand. That's how you grow. And then I think this was a really important quote from Gary Vaynerchuk as well. Again, he manages brands like Coca-Cola, Nike. He said, when I hear people debate on the ROI of social media, it makes me remember why so many businesses fail. Most are not playing the marathon, they're playing the sprint. They're not worried about lifetime value and retention, they're worried about short-term goals. And that is social media, it summarized right there. It's more of a lifetime value you're building for your brand that will truly benefit you in 5, 10, 15 years when the buying behavior of businesses and consumers completely changes. So I think those are great quotes to keep in mind. Let's touch base really quick about Google My Business, because I know this is a mystery.
Missy, I'm gonna interrupt you real quickly. We had one question and it's just maybe you're gonna address it later, but is there a way to create a social media post that goes to all 4 of your different platforms or a number of different platforms with one click? So are you gonna get to that later?
Yeah.
All right, so
thank goodness.
the
answer is yes. I will get there. So I think Google My Business is one of the most underrated, undervalued ways to be active on social media. It's been a critical one for us. We've drummed up business through that. We have a Google ad that's very inexpensive that helps us rank well. We post photos with locations. And I have a tutorial on the end on how to get more engaged on Google My Business, but this is a free one. And this is how people find you. So our focus this year is going to be more heavily on LinkedIn and Google My Business, because again, it's how we're being found as a customer. And kind of here's where you can find it and go look at your profile and see if you're updated, see how active you are. And see your analytics is kind of right here when you're behind the scenes in Google. I just think it helps engage with your customers for free. Again, it gets new customers with a great business profile. It gives them more ways to reach you. And according to consumers, businesses that respond to reviews are 1.7 times more trustworthy. So I think it's important to check out your comments, what's happening there. So all of you are probably thinking like, okay, Missy, Facebook, Instagram, Google My Business, LinkedIn. I'm a business owner. I'm busy. I'm in the same boat. There's this magical, wonderful thing called Hootsuite. And at the end of this presentation, I do have a tutorial. It's like a 10-minute tutorial on how to navigate Hootsuite. Hootsuite is an application where you can post to all of your social media platforms in one place. You can monitor your activity in Hootsuite. You can pre-schedule post, which I think is very important for the small to mid-sized business owners that are on this call. You're very busy from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. I'm sure like we are. Hootsuite is amazing. And you can pre-schedule it. You can have meetings with your teams and say, what's our content going to look like this week to talk about our business. So please, please download this app after this presentation, learn it, watch the 10-minute tutorial, and let this be your support for getting started. Here's their dashboard. One of the things I love about Hootsuite is that I don't even have to log in to all the platforms and just get lost in it, because I have that tendency. I don't need to see everything else. I just need to create value for our brand and then move on. So Hootsuite is a very powerful tool. I'd really recommend you looking at it if this is going to be a new journey for you. Here's kind of all the benefits that I'll let you guys kind of go back and look at within the presentation. I want to talk a little bit about my social media story, which hopefully will give some relevancy on why Barb asked me to even speak on this subject. I am not a social media expert by any means, But I did figure out how, through the School of Hard Knocks, to set ourselves apart online. And I did find the white space in our industry and kind of wiggled our way into some great contracts for a company that helped us be where we are today. When I first took over the company, we had one excavator, one truck, a 27-year-old owner operator, and a woman general manager in the waste management and earth moving industry. Like, recipe for no one wants to work with us. We had a lot of barriers to work through. We had the barrier of age. We were young. People, customers automatically connected that with lack of experience, despite, Trevor's upbringing in the industry and my understanding of the business side of it. We just weren't an ideal combo. And I recognized those barriers and was like, how am I going to break through these barriers and tell our story that we are experienced? We're doing phenomenal projects. They can trust working with a woman in earth moving and waste management. And to me, right away, I just saw none of our competitors were really online, but all of our potential customers were. And so I just had a huge breakthrough and said, we're going to rebuild our brand. We're going to get a nice website. We're going to get a nice logo. We're going to build a great presence online. And then I am going to consistently tell our story, what we do, how we do it in a strategic way that showcases our work, our values, our experience. And within 3 years of going on that journey, we were sold out as a business. We had added 3 excavators to our fleet. We were maxed out, and we were working with like the top respected residential custom builders in the Twin Cities. We were doing, demoing the Pillsbury Mansion on Lake Minnetonka. We were just doing the work that we were passionate about and excited about. And genuinely, those top customers found us through social media. We were very intentional about that. I friended some of those potential customers, just like you can do on LinkedIn now. And it just really worked for us. From that venture, I kind of chose to kind of more build a personal brand. And that went really well. Within 2 years, had 20,000 followers on Instagram, which was like crazy to me. I couldn't believe like how excited people in our industry were to connect visually. And my goal there was really to bring advocacy for women in construction, to show a woman on a job site in the dirt with a dumpster, and that women can do it. That was kind of my personal passion, why I built that personal brand. But it was also to continue to tell our story in hopes of growing our business. So it worked successfully for us. The personal brand, I ended up being able to work with Caterpillar Corporate. They reached out to tell our story, which helped us build our business. And it was amazing. But again, it started very small and it started very simple. And what we did with our business was with like 400 followers on Facebook and 600 people on Instagram, and it maxed out our business and really created brand awareness that has been pretty unstoppable. So here's one of the barriers I want to talk about. And I think it could be, I wish I could see if everyone could raise their hand or not, why, people don't engage online. They think, well, I don't have any followers. No one is watching me, checking me out. But presence is greater than following. What matters is consistent presence, and we should not be paralyzed by following and likes. I think our human nature can sometimes be attached to that. I see companies out there doing an amazing job on their social media, and they get 4 to 5 likes. Again, it's not about that. It's about a consistent presence that your customers can see, and it's about supporting you ranking well on Google. So don't be paralyzed by following. It's all about a consistent presence. Another huge tip that I think is creating is greater than consuming. Barb has, talked with me about this one and mentored me. I think it's easy to get lost in consumption on social media. And when you're a business owner and you're busy and you don't really have time for that, but creating online is important. Consuming online is not. We have businesses to run, great customers to build relationships with. So I just wanted to show the differentiation between those two. Last one's a little hard for me to talk about, but it's true. professional and being professionalism is more important than personal online. And I think you have to be really cautious, especially in this climate. If you're going to actively put your business out there online and talk about it and connect you as a personal brand to your business, your personal kind of has to go away. Your political views, which is very hard for me, have to be put aside. You know, I slipped in like 1 or 2 last year. Barb caught me. It's just important. I think you're making a conscious choice that when it comes to public persona, my business is first. And I can set aside my personal, or you can have a very private, small, limited personal page if you'd like to. But again, if you're going to go on this journey of building a strong, recognizable brand online, you really have to focus on the professionalism and put personal views, political views, all of that aside, and really keep that on lockdown so that it doesn't ever hinder or limit your business. So we've talked about my social media story. I want to talk about your social media story, and what I'd like everyone to do, if possible, in the chat is kind of share what your barriers are to posting or being engaged online. And I'm just curious about this for maybe a follow-up education session or strategic session. Why aren't you on social media? Why aren't you posting? What are your barriers to entry there when it comes to social media? For some of the smaller, companies, what are those barriers? For some of the large companies who are on here that are staffed, what are your barriers? Why isn't your communications director online? Are they pretty busy with other things? Are they being allotted time? Are they being given creative direction from your teams? What are your barriers? I'd love for you guys to just share that in the chat so that, again, we could potentially do a follow-up and address those issues. The other thing I'd really like you to think about, and this is for your piece of paper and pen, which at the end, I am going to ask everyone to hold up and see that you took notes and we have like some actionable items from this. What are your barriers as a business when it comes to conveying your message? What are you struggling to tell your customer? What stories are so amazing about your business that you wish customers knew? What are those barriers? And write those down. For us, our barrier was age, youth, assumption of lack of experience. And I wished I could just get this message out that Trevor grew up around a land developer and was an expert at what he was doing. And that I was a customer service driven, representative in the excavation industry and wanted to bring customer service back to the dirty jobs of construction. And I wanted our customers to know that so bad. And the way to tell that, again, was social media. So just take a quick moment. What are your barriers? Why you're not posting consistently? And that's small or large companies. And then write down, what are your barriers with your customer right now? What stories do you wish they knew or understood? And that is going to be your baseline for the content that I hope you start creating. What do you wish what do I wish? And even if you just write on that notepad, what do I wish my customers knew about our business or about what we did? That right there is the baseline to your social media story. So let's talk about content, because my assumption was one of your barriers was going to be content. What do I say? What do I put out there? Missy, I've heard from other owners, I sit there and I'm overwhelmed, like, what do I talk about and how to do this? So I'm going to walk you through right now, just a base, like, here's content. Here's a content strategy for you, what you can talk about and set you apart, because content is queen. I love that my graphic designer changed because I had content is king and she said content's queen. I love her transition there.
So Missy, I'll just tell you straight out, you're right. Content and time are the top two.
Awesome.
Getting the content from others to post that are in different, leader in the project management or leadership positions.
Yep.
And then in familiarity, with the different platforms. And somebody did say to you on here already, thank you so much for the Hootsuite, because maybe that'll be a fix for the unfamiliarity part. So
It will. And the video will really be helpful. It walks you through it, which I think is fantastic. So we're going to address content for sure, and time. I'll talk a little bit more at the end, but Hootsuite is really going to save you time. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end as well, since we had so many, people come up with that. So content is queen. And here's a way to simplify thinking through content. And I want you to write this down on that piece of paper. Great content highlights your core values, your clients, and your company on a consistent basis. So there's your baseline, another baseline for you for thinking through content. And I am going to have downloadable content calendars at the end of this. So there will be some resources for that as well. Great content highlights your core values, your clients, your company on a consistent basis. I just told you one of the main things you could be talking about every other day online. Your core values, I'm sure you have quite a few, your clients, your company consistently. Let's talk about core values, because I think this is a really important one, especially for women-owned businesses and also large companies where your core values can tend to get lost. Let me go back. Core values are meaningful statements that define what's important to your business and govern how you conduct it. As part of building your business brand, it's critical to identify and communicate your company's core values to attract customers. So before you get into talking about your company or your customers, I think your core values typically are what set you apart as a company. Here's our core values. This is just an excerpt from one of our sales booklets. And what I'm going to tell you right now is this page alone, I could probably build 20 posts from this page. And I'll walk you through how I'll do that. Some of our core values: strict safety standards. I could do one post a month on our safety standards. Here's a picture of someone in their vest, and here's how we prioritize safety. Here's why. As a company, we've always made safety a top priority. Experienced field team. We love that our field team is experienced. Meet Brian. He's been doing this for 25 years. Thanks for all the hard work, Brian, right? I'm going to try to keep it simple for you guys, because I think it's kind of what holds us back. Solutions oriented. So I could do one post a month on how we approach dirt and excavation with solutions. We don't just take a plan. We really dive deep into what are some options for our customers to save them money. Excellent customer service, technology. So our core values, again, can establish one post a month on a core value. On the right, you'll see our capabilities. I can just share, we just did this demolition job. We did it with expertise and customer service in mind. Thanks Hague Homes for a job well done. Capabilities is another great one. But core values is kind of what we're focused on right now. I think it's very, very, very important to consistently put your core values on your social media posts and keep them very simple. Like picture of, the cabinets. And one of our core values is precision and installation that has our customer in mind. Done. 1-2 sentences, core value, picture of your work, moving on. I think also with your core values, you could take it to another level of your why. What do you believe in personally? Why did you create a business in the first place? What is it about your business that makes it meaningful and important? Take your core values to the next level in your content and talk about your why. So for us, we're very passionate about dirt work, and it's art to us and doing it perfect. So I might say at T-Sherber, we're passionate about doing dirty jobs differently. And that's it. Picture of our work, what our passion is, our why. For some of the larger companies on here, I think it's very important to integrate the historical aspect of your company, your founders, your leaders. Why did they start the business? What were their passions? And show some of that historical why. And always integrate that. So even though you might be a massive company now, you're connecting your customer to to small but big principles that made you kind of where you are today. So again, content, core values. Next, your clients. This is one that I see a huge miss on online, is making your customers the hero of your story. Nancy Duarte wrote a phenomenal book called Resonate that I read, and consistently just said, the hero of the story is your customer. And B2C businesses have this figured out. I think B2B businesses, we need to grow in this space of not just talking about ourselves and our core values and who we are and what we do, although that's very important. We also need to talk about our customers and the amazing work they're doing, how they're doing it differently, and that we love supporting them with siding or dirt or dumpsters. The hero of your content is your customer, and that should give you infinite content talking about them. Go to their website, look up their 6 core principles as a company. And when you do a post, be mindful of what their core values are. We love working with Hague Homes because they prioritize the customer, and we love supporting them on this job. I'm going to go here next to kind of how we do this. This is one of our customers, Hague Homes. And, you know, we did this project here. It was an award-winning project for them. And on our feed, so that it's just not all dirt work and excavation, every single picture, when we launched the project, I posted the architectural draft design of the house. So excited to break ground today on this beautiful custom home designed by so-and-so, built by Hague Homes, a very talented builder in the Twin Cities. Done. Mid-project, I'm posting excavation pictures, breaking ground, building the courtyard, you know, so I'm talking about our work, what we're doing as a company. And then when the project was finished, Hague Homes won an award. They were featured in a few magazines, and I shared that on our page. Congratulations, Hague Homes, on your feature in Artful Living. We loved being the solid foundation for this forever home. So that should give you a whole new layer of content, is talking about your customers. I will warn you about this one thing. We're doing that so much. I was so excited to like make our customers the hero of our story. I put out there some customers we hadn't secured a strong relationship with, and then had some of our competitors like go after them, underbid us, and do the silly stuff that, you know, people do that we don't do. So you'll want to be cautious on telling your customer stories. Make sure it's a customer that you have a secure relationship with, would never work with anyone else. Here's one of a groundbreaking ceremony. We do these groundbreaking ceremonies where we invite the family. We want them to come in the excavator, experience a job site. This was with Norsan Custom Homes. They're a great customer of ours, and we posted about it. They shared it on their feed. We got a lot of eyes on us because they have a big following. So think about that with your content. Talk about your company, talk about your core values. Also talk about your customers and integrate that into your content strategy. Let's go to your company. So I think one of the ways to think through your company is, how is your company different from the next one? Always shine a spotlight on what makes you stand out, the things you do differently. For us, those groundbreaking ceremonies, I think, make us unique as a contractor. I would talk about that once a month. What makes us different? I would write a post. What makes us different? We give back. We have a do good dumpster. Once a month, I'd be posting, here's our do good dumpster at this job site, you know, whatever. So whatever makes you different, I want you to write down on that piece of paper, what makes me different? What helps me stand out as a company? What's unique about me? That's one post a month, for sure, is what makes you unique or different. So you've got a few posts a month with your core values, what makes you different, your customers. I feel like I just gave you at least 5 or 6 posts a month, if at minimum you can share on your platforms. And then to me, one of the most important is your capabilities. So your company, what do you
Missy,
do? Yeah.
can I interrupt you with just a couple of questions real quick? Do you worry about other competitor customers being upset if you recognize each other?
Say that
Crystal, do you
again.
want to expand on that if that's a little confusing for you?
Yeah, I probably didn't write it right. I'm bad with typing words, hence probably not wonderful on social media. I think I did a good job, but I guess my question is, so Like if you have one competitor, one customer and you recognize them, are you worried about their competitor being upset that you're not recognizing them and you're doing business with them? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I do think you have to be cautious of that. There are, I've had customers reach out and say, well, you posted about them and not about us on this project, and kind of scaled me back and had to rethink through that. So definitely you have to approach it with sensitivity. One, you want the customer's permission. Two, you want to be mindful that if you work for your customer and their competitor, trying to divvy out the pie, respectively. Typically, they're just excited that you're even talking about them and sharing the project. But yeah, it is something to be mindful of for sure, Chris.
because even last night I posted, we were on 3 projects that were recognized on MnDOT. So I actually did post the link for the awards and said we are proud to be on 3 projects, and I listed the customers and what projects they were. But then I'm like, my competitors, obviously, most, I wasn't too worried about it because, the whole underbidding, they're gonna, they're all knowing. So it's not like,
Yeah,
I have to be lowball anyhow. So, but I guess that was kind of what I was thinking.
I think if the intention is positive, to always move forward with the post and sharing it, and just knowing you may have, like I had to explain this one GC or large builder we worked for was kind of upset and, well, what about us? And I'm like, I have to, I'm just a sub. I have to fairly share about everyone. I need to talk about this builder and that builder, including you. And he was very understanding and never said a word again. So, but it is something to be mindful of and be sensitive of for sure, depending on what type of project and where you're working. Yeah, so great thing to bring up, Crystal. So
Thank you.
talked about core values, sharing your core values online, talking about your customers, your projects that you're doing, and then your company, your capabilities. What are the general services you provide? You should write
So
up.
Missy,
Yep.
I'm just going to keep stopping you here for a second here. So because you were talking about customers, the one question is, should you always tag your customers?
If I do, I think maybe ask them, we're going to be sharing more of the projects that we're doing with you this year. I know some of you are on larger commercial projects, MnDOT projects. So I think you're going to have to feel that one out based on the project and the customer on if they want that or if they wouldn't. I've always found that people love recognition and love to be connected. It's public persona and brand awareness on their part. And if they ever don't like it, they'll say something. So I typically tag our customers, and then it's up to them to accept the tag or share it or to say, I don't want to be tagged in dirt work, or dumpsters. I don't want to see a dumpster. And then I say, okay, no problem. Moving forward, I'll do neutral posts on your job site. So I think you'll have to kind of feel that out based on your relationship and customer.
And one other piece here, and this may be something that you're getting to, and that's how do we determine the sweet spot for the quantity of posts per week or month?
I'm going to get to that.
Okay, sounds good. Go on. Your
Awesome.
capabilities.
Yes. So we talked about core values. And again, I'm just helping you guys start to think through content. We talked about your customers, core values, and then the obvious is your company, your capabilities, the services you provide. Again, if we went back to that page from our sales booklet, we had our 12 different services there. A post per service each year is important. Excavation, demolition. So on that piece of paper, I want you to either just write services and then, leave a blank area below it. What are all the services you provide? And just putting out there in a simple way. We love doing big foundations for our residential customers, or we love installing cabinets. Cabinets is what we do best. We're passionate about each service. So your services, your capabilities should be integrated into your content. And I'm actually going to break that down a little deeper for you guys and gals. I did a presentation 2 years ago, kind of similar, and they were like, help us talk more about our company. And people really struggle to talk about their company. So I think a deeper way to think about talking about your company is your products, your process, your people. So make it yours. Great content about your company highlights products, process, people on a consistent basis. So I'm going to show you some examples of kind of what we've done here.
Here's 2 posts from our Instagram. Sorry, I'm just having to click over here so I can see it. Oops. Products, the services you provide. So you'll see just a leading sentence there. T. Sherber is kicking off the new year, getting 3 custom basements into the ground in the cold. That's our product. We dig basements. To the right, demolition of a 13,000 square foot house in highly residential area means a solid safety plan is in order. I kind of broke into a process there, but there's a product. We do demos. Process is how you do that and how you do it differently. So you'll see in this first post here, we have 6 demos in the books. Second paragraph is a process. A huge part of customer service for T. Sherber is supporting our clients' scheduling needs. So we really support schedules. They have a deadline in mind, 100 subs to manage, and that lineup starts with us. That's a trust we take seriously. When they say go, we go. So one of our processes is to really be supportive in the scheduling. On the right, you'll see on projects like this, we like to get involved from the very beginning. When the structure is being placed by the architect and engineer, a few feet can make a huge difference on the dirt bill. And we prefer full transparency on costs up front. So that's one of the ways we approach a job, a process. Next is a really, really important one, and that is people, the staff that serve your customers. If you have good, longstanding staff that you could trust putting out there, I know, some of us with the union, we're changing staff, but I feel like most of us have a core team that we could trust putting their profiles out there in front of our customers. They want to get familiar with who they're going to see on the job site. Like our customers now, Deb is our lead driver for the dumpster company. They all know Deb and like love Deb and ask for Deb. And I really put her story out there because she's one of our key pillars with the roll-off company. So when it comes to your content for your company, just think about product, process, people. Let's talk about creating your content when it comes to live content. Most of you have projects going on every day. And that could create some great content for you as well. What's happening today in your business, on your job sites, in the world? How are these connected to your company, core values, and ideal clients? So one of the things that was just happening in the world was Women in Construction Week, International Women's Day. And I saw a lot of companies that are on here. I went and looked at all your social feeds to kind of see where you're at. There are companies on here who were very relevant that week and posted the women that work within their company. The superintendents, the estimators, you were relevant and live with what was happening in the world. So I think it's great to find things happening in the world, whether it's just simple events like Easter or things that everyone's connected to, and generate posts that are connected to stuff like that. And then obviously, if you're like struggling on what to post, well, what's happening that week? How can you talk about it in a simple way? We just started this demolition job for one of our top customers. So excited to see this one come together. That took me 5 minutes to put up there. So here's one of the things I think that will help as well. And again, we do have this resource at the end, is to make a content calendar. And Barb brought up the question of time management. Social media can be a huge time sucker. And as a business owner, it's just, you can't get lost. You can't get lost in consumption or, too much creating. I think a content calendar is critical, and how we're going to approach it this year, because we found it taking too much of our time, is we're making a content calendar. We're working with a company who's going to be taking over all of our posts in a lead gen kind of way. We're meeting once a month, and we're committing that 3 to 4 hours to come up with the content for the month. And for me, I think a healthy amount of posting is 2 to 3 posts a week. Doesn't need to be every day. Again, we're not a B2C business. We're not trying to engage with someone buying, a toothbrush from us. 2 to 3 posts a week is healthy. And I think it's manageable and doable as a business. And get a content calendar. Again, I'll have a few downloadable ones at the end. Go through, let's talk about one core value this month. Let's talk about one customer this month. Let's talk about one successful project. Let's highlight one of our team members, one of our processes. That right there is 5 or 6 posts, and you'll need to kind of come up with 2 or 3 more within that framework. But you can use 3 kind of content calendars, spreadsheets, blog calendars. There's apps like Trello and CoSchedule that do that, but we just do ours on a Google spreadsheet. I think that's just the simplest way to do it. This is Trello. And again, this isn't something I've used. We just use a spreadsheet. But if you're like type A and really like to manage stuff like this, Trello is a very, very widely used content calendar manager. It's not on here, but oh, there it is. Real quick, I want to touch on photography. This is one of the best investments we made as a business when we decided to build our brand better online, and it really set us apart. I found an up and coming photographer, and for $200, she would come quarterly to some of our job sites. I would have her shoot. I'd get 10 to 15 images, which would be enough content for me for, 2 months. I'd reuse it. I think photography, like within construction, I think it's so great for a couple of reasons. One, it gives us a great presence online. Two, it gets rid of stock photos, which typically aren't very inclusive anyway and aren't real or relevant. And three, I just think for workforce development and awareness for our industry, it just starts to capture our industry in a more exciting and compelling way. So we invest in a photographer coming to our job sites once a quarter at least. Again, it's $200 a quarter. We've had a few videos made. We've invested a little more in that, but I think this is, if you're wondering where do I start, I don't even know what pictures to share if that's kind of overwhelming for you, which it was for me, and I can't get to all of our job sites. One photography session can give you enough photos for an entire quarter if you hire a good photographer and ask for, 30, 40 images. So one of the best investments you can make for a good social presence is to come out, have them shoot your shop, your people, your trucks, your equipment, talk about technology, show your accountant, at her desk, and we have full transparency with accounting. And this is Cheryl, and she's a great support system there. And, have them come out to your headquarters twice a year, have them come out to your job sites twice a year, shoot some great photography to put on your social channels. If you're like me and just overwhelmed by taking photos and laying out on the ground and trying to get an excavator and a dumpster and a photo, that was like a no for me. My husband loves when the photographers show up on the job site. He's like, eh. So let's see.
Question, same 2 or 3 posts on each platform or different posts on each platform?
Same post on all platforms. And that's Hootsuite will help you with that. You can put one post, you can select all the platforms, and you're consistent 2 to 3 times a week. You're posting the same message and photo to all the different audiences that potentially can follow you. My graphic designer added this to jazz up your photos and quotes. There's a little green square on here that you can go click on. There's a few apps out there. If you're kind of app savvy and you wouldn't mind uploading a photo to an application and adding some quote to it, there's great things that can help you out to do that. I don't do that because I just feel like it's too much for me. But if you want to get really creative and add quotes to your posts, you can click on this green square and look at the resources there. Here's my biggest principle for social media that really kept me moving when we first started building our online presence for our brand is done is better than perfect. Like, I think we can sit there and overthink what we're saying, how we're saying it, is the photo right? Getting it done and shared on your platforms is better than perfection when it comes to online. You're already setting yourself apart and have a competitive edge just by doing it. So this is a quote I have in my office about everything, but I think it's very relevant for social media where a lot of us as business owners will tend to overthink what we're putting out there. And then real quick, just sharing your content. Again, work smarter, not harder. This is the best social media management system, in my opinion, if you're going to be doing it yourself. And again, set aside that one day a month where you're just intentional about it. So you're not thinking about a post, or even one day a week. Tuesday mornings from 9 to 11, I plan next week's post. I like once a month just to get it all done. But Hootsuite's a great tool for you guys to use. Here's their dashboard, which I'll kind of let you look into if you decide to go there. One last thing to talk about is collaboration. Most of you spend money on brands. And typically those brands, if you're just getting started on your social media,
one of the brands we spend a lot of money on is Caterpillar and at Ziegler Cat. So I reached out to them and I said, hey, we buy your product. We would love to collaborate with you. We're trying to build our presence online. And Kat was like, absolutely, let's tell your customer story and share your story on our platforms. Or Granger is another one. There's a lot of brands that you all spend money on that they might have a monthly catalog or a great online presence. Reach out to the brands you spend on and say, hey, is there a way we could get featured? We're trying to build our brand online. Me reaching out to Caterpillar and Ziegler ended up with a visit for us to Caterpillar headquarters. We got to tour the dozer factory. They featured us on a few blogs on their channels, which grew our channels. I think this is kind of an advanced use of it. If you're not using it at all, like start with the basic principles that we talked about. But once you get something good going, 6 to 10 months, think about what brands you spend money on and could they feature you on their channels? Do they have a big following? Bosch Tools is one I'm thinking of just for Erica because she was just at our shop helping us get our shop set up. Can you call them and say, hey, I'm a vendor of yours. I'm a woman-owned business and I buy your product and I'm growing my social channels. Would you be willing to feature me on your channel? And something that we're doing. So yeah, definitely collaboration, reach out to your resources and the brands you invest in. They're typically eager to share your story, especially as a woman-owned business. That was one of the ways we built our online presence very quickly. And then confidence. I know this isn't everyone on here. I know there's some great representatives who this is what you do as a job for the companies, but I also know there are women on here where you're like the confidence piece, and it was huge for me. Excavation was new. How am I going to talk about it? I think there's no secret formula to finding your confidence, but here's the thing. I think the pride in your work, being proud of what you do, will give you the confidence to share what you do, is the pride in what you do. It's just important. So thank you guys so much. I hope this was helpful in getting you started. Here's where you can access this presentation. You can go click on all the green pluses and get further resources. It's at sherberreport.com/social media. At the end, you'll find right here. So here's some social media tools and tutorials that I discussed in the presentation. Also, here's a branding web photography resources. Here's who I've worked with. Jackie does all of our branding and websites, and she did this presentation. And if you just need a good logo and a good website to start, she's a great person. If you have a big budget and you need social media slides designed, she's a great resource. Dave Puente, I've worked with him on photography and also video. Jojo is her name, Joanna Rose. Half the photos you saw on here were hers. We're going to be working with Lead Revenue. When I talk about we're hiring someone to kind of just take it all over because we just can't manage it anymore. That's who we're going to be working with. It's $2,500 a month. It's a bit of an investment, but if that's where you are to kind of start posting and lead gen and all of that. Otherwise, if you're looking for simple support that might be more cost effective, Josie Hopkins is a great resource. Hook Agency is as well. They're local. But I really think you can do a lot of it on your own. We did it with very little support. It was successful. And yeah, so that is everything I have. Barb, do you?
We do have a few more questions. I am going to add on the branding and web photography. Obviously, always look at AWC's membership list too.
Yeah.
We have Bjorna and I totally forgot who else from Red Technologies here.
Awesome.
Obviously they do branding, website design, marketing, etc. And they do all of our web design here at AWC. So shout out to them as well today.
Yes.
So another question that we had here, and anyone can type in questions or you can shout them out when we're done here, but environmental services firm Shelley asks, how do you handle wanting to be sharing about your work on social media, but obviously a lot of customers don't want you to be on there saying, oh, hi, I went and cleaned up a spill over here. How do you manage that deal where your work is to make it better?
Yeah, so if there is like a problem solution element, typically you're only then going to talk about the solution. You're going to show the photo of the cleanup and how you did it well and how you did it differently. You're probably not going to be able to say or want to say, Walmart's truck tipped over on 94 and we were the spill responder. You'd really have to make your content about you as the solution to the problem, or kind of solution-based content. We've had to shift that way as we've gotten into larger commercial work. I can just tell it's not going to be appropriate for me to call out some of the problems or bigger projects. So one question that came up earlier too that I forgot to answer that I just wrote down here. If you are at a mid to large size company, your business developer, your communications director should not be working silo to tell your story. He or she should get a meeting with your business developer, a PM, maybe a lead PM and a lead superintendent at least once a month, and say, okay, guys and gals, what projects are happening this month? Are there any I can come take pictures of? What staff were just shining last month that I can talk about? What project did we just close? What project did we just win? And kind of work as a team. I think I see a lot of communications directors work silo and not get anything, even, once a quarter with C-level and owners of what's our mission? What's our vision? What's exciting about the company? How did we start? Give me some content to talk about our company. I just want to put that out there. Communication directors shouldn't be working solo. They should be working as a team and get at least a quarterly meeting to help them generate good content. So I hope that answers the question from earlier on.
There was another question earlier that maybe you could have some guidance on, and I think she's still on. But somebody mentioned that they have multiple locations, right? And in each location, there are different staff, even though there's kind of like the same ownership team or whatever.
Yeah.
And so different people are posting different things on different platforms. And how do you manage the consistency? I mean, do you have a recommendation for her?
I do think you need to have some law and order when you have multiple locations. I don't necessarily think multiple platforms is a good idea. I think you should still have your one platform that's tied to all the algorithms of Google that help you grow your business. But I'll just use, I'll use Vite as an example because they hired a big kind of media company to do theirs, and I've been watching what they're doing. It's all through Vite's channels, right? They have multiple Midwest locations, but they're being very intentional on Rochester and North Dakota. And, each month they're kind of talking about a different location, a different staff member, and putting it out there. So I still think you should just have one channel, but the communication will just have to be stronger among the teams of one step. If you have 4 locations, maybe quarterly you choose a location to hire. That will kind of go with your content calendar and strategy to make sure you're highlighting everyone. I hope that answers the question.
Is there a reason why, and maybe I just missed it when I was grabbing a cup of coffee, is there a reason why you didn't mention Twitter as one of the top 4 platforms?
I personally I haven't seen a lot of construction activity on there. I think tech as an industry, healthcare, politics, journalism, I've seen a list of the top industries that are active on Twitter, and construction isn't one of them. That's not to say that will change, but if you're limited on time, I kind of chose where I did research on where is there opportunity for construction to actually grow your business.
If you want to let go of your slide, maybe we can all see some faces here.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see construction companies using YouTube?
Yes, I do. However, I think the struggle right now with YouTube is compliance, safety. Are the vests zipped up? Are the hard hats on? But there is opportunity on YouTube, but to build business and for direct business development, I think no. I think it's more for an entertaining, showing excavators on the job site are probably going to get searched by kids to watch excavators on a job site. I don't think it's a strong business development tool.
But it could be a way to take whatever you put on YouTube and then just share it on your other platforms, right? To lead.
Yes. So YouTube's a great platform to upload if you do a video. So Dave Puente, who I've worked with, who's done videos with us, he always uploads them on YouTube, and then I share it through YouTube. But I don't, for me, our activity is focused on business development. And so I've limited where can I build our business? with the platforms that I focus on and use the most.
Yorna says, this was so fab, Missy. AWC, she is right on. So
Thank you. I think this was exciting. And honestly, like to me, a fun follow-up or an event I've always thought would be great because again, it comes up again, content is a content strategy day where we all sit, you know, once we can all meet again, we have tables and unique industries are together and we build a content calendar and we provide support on, let's build out your calendar for the year. Let's take that intimidation factor out of it so that you can start to really, you know, put that out. So maybe this summer, if we're all able together, we can do something like that. I know someone did that for me and it was very helpful to demystify content.
I would like to see a share of thumbs up or not. If you feel like, Crystal says she's in on that idea when. If you feel like this helped to demystify it. I mean, did Missy hit the point as far as, you know, because I know I struggle with that with AWC and just thinking, well, who the hell cares and who's watching me anyway?
Awesome. I'm glad you guys, it was helpful. Really, again, I was just sharing, I'm not an expert, but it did really work for us. And it's such a great business development tool. I know we could take it a lot deeper and further. I hope we have the opportunity this summer to do a follow-up. And again, please put the questions up there so that I can print that out and look at it. But you guys are awesome. And honestly, the reason I did this, I felt so passionate that women-owned construction companies, like here is a competitive edge for you. Here's how to get yourself in front of everyone and give yourself the advantage. We'll take all the advantage we can get, but also larger companies and GCs who are just doing a phenomenal job. Here's how to tell your story more consistently, and let's all connect and do it together, and it'll be fun.
Anything else for Missy?
I have a couple questions, Missy.
Yeah.
Like with a residential customer, if we wanted to post, do we have to get permission from them to be posting pictures, or is it, what's the best,
Yeah.
we have
So
to have like a signed consent, I should say.
yeah, I think if you have like a smaller platform and it's not thousands of people and thousands of eyes on it, we just let them know, you know, just a heads up. We like to share the work we do and how we support great customers like you. If you have a problem with that, please let us know. So, you know, and we've had a couple instances where the customer was like, we don't, and we sent that, they maybe didn't read it in detail. They didn't let us know. We shared something and it was so easy to, no problem. I apologize. We'll take that one right down. We still appreciated the opportunity to support you. So if you have a bigger platform or maybe you're on bigger jobs, you know, you might want to get consent. And there is a downloadable photo consent. If you Google photo consent form, that's what we did. And we just put our logo on it. So for those groundbreaking ceremonies where we hire the photographer, we have to invite the family, you know, we do have them sign a photo consent. Are you comfortable? And typically they'll say right there, no, we really would rather keep this private. No problem. Let's shoot this job just for you. And it's our gift to you to have pictures of you breaking ground. But residential is a great place for it. And Kia, you impressed me before everything started. Someone said, oh, Kia, I've been seeing your business pop up. And you're like, that's a paid ad. I was like, yeah, girl, she's next level. She's paying for the ads and getting herself in front of those Facebook ads are so inexpensive. And I didn't want to go into the nuts and bolts of that because it's still something we're unraveling now. But great question though, Kia.
Another question I have, because I have 3. With the Google reviews, if you don't reply to them, should you go back and reply to all of them or just try and reply to them as fast as you can as they pop up?
You should go back and reply to all of them. Google will recognize you for that. They'll boost you for that. And yeah, I think even if it's 2 or 3 years old, go back and respond. I apologize for this experience, or thanks for the feedback. How can we connect more? Yeah, definitely go back and do that for sure.
My last question. I am not personally on social media because I find it to be unauthentic for most of the people who I knew at some point in time. But is that kind of like an issue if you don't do it personally, but then you do it for your business on a high level?
No, there's not. And honestly, like Barb and I have had these conversations. I'm working towards getting rid of all my personal profiles because I've just found them distracting and just not conducive to even building my business anyway. And my husband's really private person and doesn't want me posting our coffee and our daughter. I don't know. So yeah, I don't think it's a problem at all. If you only have a business presence and not a personal, that's not a problem. However, integrate yourself onto some of those posts, introduce yourself, your role, so people get to know you and not just your business, I think is important.
Matt asks if you utilize Facebook community groups at all to target specific markets for business.
I have not dabbled in Facebook community, but I am working with a company that we're going to be hiring lead revenue on something similar on LinkedIn. I feel like for us and our customers, LinkedIn is more strategic than Facebook. But again, like for your type of business, it could be beneficial. And you might want to look at your competitors. What are they doing? How are they doing it? Are they in a Facebook community? And if they are, I think they'd be great, but it's not something we've dabbled in.
Yeah, I would see that as being really important for our members that do residential work. Those of you that are in the commercial space, I don't know that it would really make sense. For you guys, Matt, you guys do both. So, your residential arm could be paying attention to that. I know like Caruso with Premier Fence, that's a constant question in those community pages. Anybody recommend somebody that does fencing? Anybody, or landscaping is another one that's a big one,
Yeah.
And I think that's key if you leave that to your clients to refer you on those places and be tagging you. I think that might even be better than you saying, because when I see somebody ask for recommendations and the company's like, I can help all the time, I'm always like, okay, I want to hear people say, I worked with so-and-so and they were awesome.
Yeah, same.